to Disturbing Your Peace.
Welcome back to Disturbing Your Peace. I'm Sindis.
Mahlam.
And I'm Zaytun.
And today, our first episode is going to, well, we're recording, so you can see our faces. So today, our first episode...
Big reveal. We're not niqabis. Just making that clear.
Ayo. If you want to add me up on Minder, my username is...
So basically, today we're going to be talking about first-generation college students. We are all first-gen college students, and if you don't know what that means, it's basically being the first generation in your family to attain higher education. So basically, we're going to talk about our experiences going to a predominantly white institution and being from an immigrant refugee background. So join us today.
Yeah, we're excited. It's going to be an interesting topic because we're probably going to be ranting the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
No, literally. I hate school. Especially university.
It starts with a W. It's named after a state. This is at you.
That's all I'm gonna say. If you wanna see what I just made a sign of, please check us out on Disturbing Your Peace at YouTube.
Exactly. We have a lot of great reactions. So if you want to see our faces,
we're Somali. We're done for this.
But yeah, so higher education is something that's very interesting, especially being from like a minority background. So there's so many things within higher education that disturb our peace because school is literally a scam. Go to school, actually. I believe in higher education, but it's literally a scam sometimes. Yeah. It really is.
I think for me, what disturbs my peace the most is how fake like higher ed and college is, like than the reality. So like when teachers or you've seen it in movies, like college is just like portrayed the best time, like there's no sorrowness. Like teachers in high school when they're talking about college, it's like this is like your one-stop shop to end poverty, to like change the world and stuff like that. And you get there and it's like it's none of the expectations are met. It's like you go on a first date with college and literally it's the biggest catfish of like the century. Like it doesn't even make sense how far off it is. Maybe that's my experience going to the school I went to, but it's a pretty good school. Like, I'm gonna give myself props. Like you rhymes with Washington. It's like a great school, okay? It's a public Ivy. It has all the necessities that I should have had a good experience with, and I clearly didn't. So it's like, I just hated how I was Catholic. Like freshman year, like I literally was so depressed and sad. Like I remember I was crying on the train. I was crying all the time because of how fucked up the shit was. I was like, this is college? You expect me to be here 4 more years?
No, bro. Okay, so for my first year at University of... If you know me, you already know where I go, so I don't even know why I'm hiding that I go to University of... But anyways, my first year, I convinced my parents. I don't know, like, who this teacher was. I don't know if they got me fucked up or if I got me fucked up. But they're like, oh, if you dorm your first year at college, there's an 89% like retention rate. So, you don't have to worry about commute and all that stuff. And I live about like an hour off, but sometimes I could be more like on the I-5 and stuff like that, like traffic in the morning. So I was like, I don't want to have to deal with all of that. So I'll just live on campus. And it was like good and also horrible because it was like, I don't know what it is, but it's just like expenses wise, it wasn't great. I hated living with non-Muslims. Like my first, oh, sorry. I don't know if that's really mean, but I don't like our lifestyles are so different.
No, oink for me.
No, oink for me. I'm sorry. And then, okay, I was going to say something a little bit more rude, but I'm going to hold myself back because I'm Muslim. But first quarter at U of whatever was so bad. Like I didn't know what was going on. I had to, like they have these little centers for, all the little brown and black kids to go to and get help, but they're so useless. They literally do nothing for you at all. And I was like, girl, I'm broke. I don't know how to pay for stuff. Can you help me out? They're like, yeah, sit here for 2 hours and then we'll do nothing for you, basically.
And how they mess up I just think the whole thing, let's start from the beginning. Like, how like applying for college is never discussed in high school. It's just like it's a give or take. So it's like you apply for college, you struggle, especially being first gen, because like nobody in your family, like I'm the oldest, like nobody in my family like ever did it. So I was so confused. And there's all these programs in high school set up to help you, but like yeah, they're helping you, but at the end of the day, you have to get your shit done. And like no matter how hard it, and there's like so much loopholes. Like you have to get your SAT scores. I'm old, so I probably changed, but like FAFSA, like all these like 5,000 million paperwork.
Yeah.
And then like then you apply for the college and there's more paperwork, and then it's just nobody told you about all this stuff, and then a lot of times you're forced to pick a school based on like, you know, scholarships and the amount of money you have, and it's not even your first school. Like nobody told me to do this, but I only applied for public school other than the public university I ended up attending. And my scholarship, like my, what is it called? My financial aid packets from all the private schools, bro, made no sense. How do they expect me to pay 30 grand? I said, how?
Yeah. I feel like finances are the worst part of like being a first gen college student, because like you really don't know how the financial aid process works. Like for me, my first year at University of I paid for a majority of my tuition, and it was the worst experience because like my sister also attended that university and she had scholarships and all of that, mashallah. So they paid for her schooling, and then I did something wrong with my financial aid, and they were so unhelpful. Like they ended up helping me out in spring, but then literally during my fall and winter quarter, I had to work a job that I hated so much so I can actually pay for it. I don't want to mention the company that I worked for, but I worked for this terrible company. And like thinking about all the anxiety and stress I had, and then on top of that, you're expected to do just as well as like the person sitting next to you that has all of these different resources, who have parents that attended the same exact school, that knows the professor probably by name and feels very comfortable with them, versus me, which I was like struggling. Like, guys, I'm gonna put myself out there. I was taking an African American Studies course, my first quarter at this institution, okay, in fall, and I ended up getting a 2.5 in African American Studies. That was my lowest grade. Also, another thing that I feel like a lot of people don't understand.
Black, so that's like, it didn't even make sense how you got that low and you're black. Like that, I still
What did you not know?
No, literally, the thing is, I feel like, okay, I studied the content and stuff, but then at the same time, and by the way, my TA was a white man, and my class average ended up being like literally, I think our class average was 2.0. It was really bad. But then what ended up happening was like the exam I like did terrible on. But that's another thing I ended up not studying for because I thought I was gonna ace it. But I think why that happened was I was so confident in myself, and I was like, oh my god, I can do it. I think coming from like a school that's like that has a lower socioeconomic status, and that's in like the south of Seattle, like it's like South King County, and like, or going to like Running Start at a school that has a lot of disadvantaged people, you think that you're like the smartest person in the room because you're like able to answer all of these questions, and you feel like, oh my god, I speak so eloquently. And then you get to the University of Washington and you realize every single person here went to a prep school, probably went to SAT boot camp, did so much preparations to like be at the university. I was about to say the name. Be at the university.
Already said the name, girl. You just made it clear.
Yeah, be at this university. So you get there and you're like, oh my god. And then I remember one of my first classes, they told us to write a 15-page essay. I was sort of prepared because I went to I did Running Start, but then I was thinking about all my other peers who didn't do Running Start, who came from like schools that were like disadvantaged. I'm like, I know that they were making them write like three pages max. So I'm like, how are they going to get through this? So like there's a lot of like academic gatekeeping that happens, and I feel like coming from a disadvantaged public school and going into a school that's considered like a public Ivy League, quote unquote, it's like one of the hardest things. That's why I kind of recommend community college for a lot of students. But at the same time, It's like being first gen, your parents are going to look at you like, why are you going to community college when you have an opportunity to go to University of da-da-da? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I hate that, like, literally because of that, because so many people are either embarrassed to go to community college or like look down on it, and it's like, I hate that education, and especially like getting into a higher like education institution is seen as such an elitist thing, you know. Me and Mr. Brad are completely like on different levels on here, you know, like, well, not only like him me and my caricature of this white person, but really like a lot of students I go to school with are literally like this, where it's like you and your little like fraternity, you're praying for your friends, you know. I can never relate because I have friends, but anyways, like you don't have to worry about finances, you don't have to worry about like where to go get resources. Like all these things that you're learning right now are things that like you've been prepped to know, you know. And your little white picket fence is completely different from me in the hood, cause like we are on different levels.
I think the hardest thing what Sundus was talking about earlier, sorry to stay tuned, but the biggest thing that Sundus was saying earlier was the whole like how you come from like a school in South Seattle or South Bend, and like you think that you're educated and you know what you're doing, you're top of your class. Like if you, I was ASU president. Sorry, Brad guys, I was ASU president. ASU president, they think they run the world. So when you come to college, it's a slap in the face. But I think freshman year, like looking back, I'm happy for that humbleness, because I think we're raised in a lot of like schools and stuff like that because grades were always easy, or because we had leadership skills, or because we have these things, like we're groomed to think that we're the best in the room. It's good to have a slap in your face and like know that there's dope people in the room too. Like, you know, you need to know how to share the spotlight. And that's something I'm grateful for that I learned at UW. I'll just say the name out there. But it's like freshman year, I literally came in and everybody was AC president. Everybody was doing dope shit. So it was like, whoa, you have to learn how to use that as I would say like motivation. But it's so hard. Like, it's like the hardest thing in the world, because it's like you're not getting A's anymore. You're barely getting B's. You're getting C's, bro. Like, you have to like, and I think a lot of times you feel super depressed, but that's why it's so important for freshmen to be friends with people that look like them from upperclassmen. Because I remember the upperclassmen were telling me, oh, you got a 75. That's good. That's good for a first midterm. You know, just study a little bit hard to get an 80. You'll be good. And I was like, what's going on? What do you mean a 75? I never get a 75. You know what I mean? But now, graduated, I would do anything for a 75. Like, I would do anything for a 75. So it's like, I think it's important for like, if you're a first gen minority underclassman, like freshman coming in, like please like make sure to like connect with like older heads, because that's like, and the whole for like they pay for their friends, they have a network. It's important for you to like build your network. Like, you're there for 4 years, build your network, whether it's brown, black, blue, purple, like make sure you build that network, and like we'll go into it. But there's like so many ways. You just have to like, freshman year, it's hard. You need to get slapped in the face, but you have to wake up from that and figure out, okay, how am I going to take in control? Because this university is literally controlling my life right now. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's the thing where it's like the lack of network, I think, is like some of like, it makes you feel like you're on an island by yourself, really. Even if there's like one other Black kid or one other like Muslim kid in the room, like you really feel like you have like a huge sense of, should I be here? You know, am I allowed to be here? And that's exactly how like your white peers are looking at you too. I think in the same way that growing up we're told, oh my God, you can speak English so well, because people don't expect you to speak it well. It's the same way that you're treated in university, where it's like, oh, you're actually here, you know?
Exactly.
Like, because they don't expect you to be here. And it kind of really does mess with your head. It messes with your confidence and your sense of being as well.
Being on the other side, now that I'm a graduate, I swear to God, it feels so good. Like, UW has this thing called FIGs, right? I was the only Black girl in my FIG. I was the only Muslim in my FIG. I was a lot of only things, okay? And my FIG, I was only close to 2 girls. I don't care if they listen to this. Those people treated me like crap. Like, I always felt like the other. Even like my FIG leader, like I literally felt like an other. Like, it was, you know, when you feel like you don't belong. Like, I was already dealing with like first year trauma and all these things. They made me feel like an other. They always like were like, oh yeah, like I got into this major, blah blah blah, all these things flexing on me. Graduated? Where you at, honey? We both graduated. We got the same jobs. So like, what was all that flex for? Like, who are you? And like now they're asking me to connect them. So it's like, I ain't putting you on, because for a year econ class, you was not giving me the answers.
Or the notes. They don't want to share the notes with you. I feel like it's crazy because I used to be, I want to say the class name. I was in an entrepreneurship class, and then we're in a group, right? And then we're talking about all these different ideas that we have. And I feel like my idea was the best because the teacher liked it. But then they literally like started talking over me, not listening to me. And at that point, you start feeling like, oh my God, like these people don't value me. Am I really here? You start questioning yourself. Imposter syndrome becomes real. You're like, why am I here? And then I think Zaytun was like, you're the only person, you're the only Black person, you're the only Muslim person in your class. You're like, okay, like people here are going to assume, and they usually do assume, that I'm, you know, the token diversity. We say it all the time. We're like, oh, we got in because of diversity. Like, but at the same time, I feel like that's kind of that's like diminishing our own accomplishments, and we have to start saying we're here because we deserve to be here. They saw something in us, and that is why we're here. We deserve just as much as everyone else here. You know what I mean? And you know, I think we even deserve it more because of all the obstacles that we had to overcome to be here. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like we got here because our parents took us to, like, I'm gonna say it again, SAT boot camp, and what's it called again? It made us take all these different courses. We're here because of our own hard work and our community supporting us. You know what I mean? So it really becomes hard. What really disturbs my peace about higher education is when you get there, right? And then they say that all these different what's it called again, groups or different organizations on campus are here to support you. Like, for example, at the University of Washington, we have something called, what can I say it? OMAD, Office of Minority Affairs. and diversity. I think that's what it stands for. I could be wrong. But then you get there and then they start discouraging you and telling you, hey, like, I don't think that you should major in this. I think that you'd be a better fit for this. I don't think you could get into that major. Hey, like,
Actually steering you away from STEM related field.
Exactly. They're trying to make you like do different go into a different major that they feel like is more attainable for you. And then you start thinking to yourself, okay, maybe, like, you start doubting yourself. Should I really do this? I remember my freshman year, I was inside an office and I was like telling my counselor, yeah, you know, I did Running Start. I want to do computer science. I want to do this and that. And to be completely honest, I got like a 4.0 at my old what's it called again, community college that I did Running Start at within these classes. And he was like, oh, this is not like South Seattle. First of all, he started assuming what neighborhood I was from. He's like, this is not like New Holly. This is not like South Seattle. So, you know, it's not like where we're from. I guess he was from there too. I don't know. And I was kind of confused. I was like, why are you saying this to me? And I quickly realized that it's not. But at the same time, I feel like it was so, like, he was really discouraging me. And I was like, I have to like take a step back, think about what's attainable to someone who looks like me. And then it breaks my heart to think that there's so many other students that are going through the same exact thing at other universities around the world.
Yeah. Also, when you say you want to major in computer science, it's not like they're telling you, okay, that's a hard major to get into. Let's think of maybe like information systems or another major that's similar. I literally wanted to major in business, and my guy said social work. Where's the correlation? I want to go into capitalism, and you're telling me to go help the world. Like, it's not the same field, my guy. Like, at least get me something like, oh, I want to do business. You're like, that's me. Let's try econ. You know what I mean? Like, it's like it's so hard for you to feel, are you on my team or are you against me? Because like, exactly. And a lot of times I feel like a lot of these organizations that they set up, it's kind of like a cover up. It's like, okay, here, we gave it to you. What else do you want? And I feel like our university does that a lot. Like when a huge like uproar happens, they have this little meeting, they have these little things that, okay, this is what you want, there you go. But it's like, it's not what we asked. Like, it's literally something you created. Like, I just feel like, and the other thing is that I think we kind of mentioned it was like, I think we're in a unique thing because it's like we're Black, Muslim, we're women. It's like we're so much minority, and I think there's no hub for us to be ourselves. Like, yeah, SSA, but that's once a week, bro. Like, maybe they're bi-weekly, right?
And it's such a small community. You want to feel that you're in community not only for an hour on Wednesdays,
twice a month. Yeah, it's like MSA, it's Ox, like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously there's, we ever had this MSA discussion while we go through it, but it's like MSA's Ox. You go to these, like, even the organizations for your majors, you go there, you're obviously the only Black person, or you're the only Muslim. It's just all these, like, I'm the onlys. And, like, I think what you did for me is, like, it just taught me numbness. I just go into rooms, I numb myself. I don't even think about what's going on. You just have to, like, that's how I preserve my peace. I feel like throughout college, it's like, I just figured out how to mind my business. Like, I just don't care. And a lot of times it's harmful because it's like the things that I'm not minding or like ignoring are things that are, like, obviously going to affect me. Like, if I say something racist, you just get mad for a day or two, and then you switch it because it's sad. You could become unhelpful, and I feel really sad because, like, when freshmen are coming in, they're so optimistic. They want to change the world, like, especially like minority students. Like, they have all this hope, and then like UW goes 1 year here. I just need 1 year, and like you just literally get crushed because it's like a big institution. You don't want to fight it, so you just become super numb. And I feel like a lot of times it's problematic, but that's how I preserve my peace. I just literally like step out, and I'm just trying to get my degree. I'm out.
Yeah. I really feel you. I remember that. So all three of us were taking this. What class was it? Is it poli-sci?
Was it 203?
203 or 201? But we were taking this poli-sci class. You know, we're sitting in the back. Someone decided to take our seats, so we're just chilling, taking our notes, listening in class. I think the professor was talking about, like, he was talking about terrorism, or he was talking about kamikazes or something.
Mm-hmm.
What was he? Yeah, something along that line. All of a sudden, I just see this white hand go up. I'm like, okay, let me see what this white man has to say. So terrorism, you mean like Islam? Like Islamic terrorism? Like, sir, huh?
Read the room. There's 3 of us here this time. 3.
Not just 1 and not just 2, but 3. Don't even mess with us. Don't mess with us, Brad. We got you. Like, I know where Sigma Phi Chi is. But but for real, I was like, first of all, that was so out of pocket. And also, do you remember that one guy in 203 that was trying to justify slavery? I don't know what it is with white students that have the need to, like, I need to play devil's advocate. Why?
And I hate how professors literally like they don't even shut them down. They have this dialogue. Why the fuck am I sitting here listening to you debating if my life is worthy? Like, we're just sitting here having a full-on debate.
Something's not really clicking, and I hate it here. And it's also like it just drains you so much to have to like raise your hand and like you have to like explain every single day in every other like class. Like, this is not okay.
I had professors who would literally pick on me because one professor said, I'm not really comfortable talking about this. I'm like really happy that you're here. You study this.
I remember like, okay, the thing is we took a couple classes together. Me and Ahlam had a class together with this one professor. And what really was interesting about the class is every time like Ahlam would be like, hey, like, you know, the way you're speaking about certain things, especially about colonialism, is very insensitive. And she would like try to give him cultural, what's it called again, competency lesson right there and then in class. He would always be like, could you please do the research and present it to the class? I'm like, you're the professor, so therefore you should do the research, not a student. It's like,
you're being paid money, you want salary.
Exactly. And then after that, he decided to say that it's not in his pay grade to be culturally sensitive. And I was just like, oh my god.
Oh, now I know what you're talking about. I hate that.
Victor, this is for you, honey.
We're gonna bleep that out, but yes. I just think it's like so hard being like a minority, like Adam was saying, a minority in every single aspect of your identity. Yes, we're Black, but we come from a refugee immigrant background, and on top of that, we're Somali. Then we're Muslim, but at the same time, MSA is not built for. Although MSA is it's supposed to be for all Muslims. Before like early 2000s, who was really at the University of Bleep early, like who was in MSAs? Not Somali students, because we were barely in higher ed. So that system was obviously built for a certain type of Muslim. And then on top of that, SSAs only meets twice a week. And then there's all of these things that you have to keep on thinking about, like that you're grappling with. Oh, we can't really live on campus because it's so expensive. And on top of that, there's like cultural expectations to be at home because you're a girl. And there's also all of these different structures that you have to navigate. Like it really breaks my heart to think that like we come into university, we're thinking, okay, I'm going to take my family out of the socioeconomic, also called the situation that they're in, because like I really think that I don't think education is the pinnacle of intelligence, because I think
like formal education,
formal education is not the pinnacle of intelligence, because I feel like Somali elders that didn't go to university or college, I feel like they're some of the most wise, most knowledgeable people. But
and
then
some dumbasses attain degrees for no reason.
Exactly. I don't know.
Not even you, cuz you know the people in public health.
Oh, Chem 142 people. Chem 142. Well, this is back to discussion. Chem 142. Go home.
Don't think that. What's it called again? I think that like, and then you think that you come in, you're like, okay, I'm gonna take my family out of the socioeconomic sector, and like I'm ready to go, right? And then you quickly realize like, oh my god, this is so much harder than I thought it was going to be. And then on top of that, although like I feel like our community, especially the Somali community, is so supportive of higher ed, I really think our parents really like try their best to be as accommodating and to like make sure that we're doing well the best they can. But then like it becomes hard to explain certain things, like, oh, why are you studying for 7 hours? Why are you like at the library at 12 a.m.? It's like, oh, you have to keep on explaining these things. So we don't have the luxury of just like, okay, sitting back, doing our homework. There's like all these things that we have to explain to our parents, and like, you know, it's so hard. I really, school is just
there's like so many like different like added levels of like expectations and pressure as well. Thanks to Sundus for these statistics, apparently 69% of first generation college students say they want to help their families, and only 39% of students whose parents have already earned a degree say that they want to help their parents. So just that right there shows the complete difference, where it's like, I'm not only going and attaining this degree just for myself, but there's also familial and community expectations of me. And that goes into like career choice, and as well as like major choices of what people consider like this is a good major. Like they have their, you know, their little 3 majors. What is it? Like medicine, engineering, law. Exactly. If you're not in those 3 little boxes, then what are you going to college for? You're just wasting people's money, you know?
Exactly. And I feel like being Somalis, it actually goes further than just your local community. I don't feel this as much, but you know, I still feel an obligation
as like diaspora,
as a diaspora, to like, you know what, at least give back to my home country. And like, because our parents, although we talked about this in our previous episode about like the savior complex, although our parents came to the United States of America to escape civil war, they also came here as like a transitional period. So they're also expecting for us to, you know, gain some sort of what's it called, skill sets that we can, you know, use back home. But there's all of these different expectations. You're just like trying to like not only survive, you have to thrive in order to even get half the opportunities your peers are getting. Like Adam was talking about networking and stuff. We have to go into those networking events and try to even get the recruiter to look at us. I remember me and my friend, what's it called? I don't want to say the company's name, but we went to a company's events and we were there, and there was it was me and her. We're both Somali, and then there was three other students that were there. And the three other students were Asian, and the person at our table, the recruiter, she wasn't a recruiter, she was an employee. She was also Asian, and she literally ignored she literally ignored us the whole entire time. I was not trying to cuss. She literally ignored us the whole entire time, and we're talking about like an idea, because I think we're going to do like case study prep or something, and our idea, to be completely honest, was so much better than the other students' idea. No offense. And she picked their idea, and she literally did not even look in our direction the entire time. And I was like, whoa, maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe I'm not interesting. But then I quickly realized it's probably because I'm a Muslim, I'm Black. Like, why is she gonna talk to me? We have no commonalities, you know what I mean? So
it's actually interesting because a lot of this research, I don't know, I've heard it before. It's like a lot of companies recruit. It's like human psychology. You like people if you have more similarities. So it's like, yeah, it's effed up that she ignored you guys, but that's literally how college works. A lot of times they recruit people because of the stories they know. It's like, it's even like human nature. Like a lot of your friends come from the same life stories as you. Like you're not really like, it's not far off. You have a lot of, similarities. So I think like with college and companies, they do that. Like the recruiter literally is just going to talk to you, acknowledge you if you have something in common. And a lot of times, it's so sad because a lot of times it's like, if you look the way I look, the recruiter, she's just going to assume you have nothing in common. You know what I mean? Like she's probably thinking I don't even speak English. So it's like me like saying, hi, how are you doing? It's like, wow, you speak English. Okay. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, they're doing all these diversity trainings and stuff like that. But it's like, it's hard to undo years of, years of things that they've been taught for years. So it's like, it's so annoying. Even like college recruiters do that. Like every college recruiter, at UW, they have like different schools they go to, but
exactly, yeah. And it's not even their fault, because I think about it, I'm like, you know what? Like if
I think it's their fault. I'm not removing blame from them. I don't know if they're doing it on purpose, but I think like especially, I think it's just like it all works together as a system. I don't think it's just one person's fault. Like you're right, but also I think like you're either like helping uphold injustice or you're helping dismantle it. Like there's no in between, even if it's unintentionally, you upholding it.
Exactly, but we're at such a different, like we have a unique situation, so we're always going to be hyper aware of like making sure everyone feels inclusive, because we know how it feels to not feel included, you know what I mean? So we're like trying to make sure that everyone is like, included, and we're speaking to everybody, but then not everyone is aware of that. I literally realized that people don't understand that they're being a bit like insensitive, or like they're not noticing you in group settings, because like they don't care, because they never have to deal with that. It just sucks.
It's an interesting feeling, because I feel like I wish everybody felt how first-gen minority students felt out of PWI, because the feeling of unwanted and feeling like the other is the worst thing. Like you literally internalize it for the rest of your life, and you're constantly trying to find a community. Like I was telling my friend Riti about this. She listens to this. Hey Riti, I was like, I literally feel like I have community issues. Like it's not even daddy issues. It's not even like it's literally community issues. And I think my higher ed had a lot to do with it, because you feel so displaced at all times. Like you're constantly like especially at we went to a quarter school system, so it's like we have a new class every 10 weeks. So it's like go to this new setting, you're literally like, well, I don't even know how this professor's gonna be like what's gonna surprise me, and then you deal with constant microaggression that's like left, right, and center. Like you're in STEM, it's like sexism, and then it's like it builds up, so you're just like you're always craving to be a place where you're yourself fully and you're accepted for who you are, and it's so hard to find that. And I feel like everybody in the world probably, like not everybody, but like a lot of people deal with that. But like when you're in that moment, like you literally just feel like nobody knows what you, like nobody thinks what I think. Like that's literally.
Yeah, it's really hard to get that like solid foundation, especially when you have like a lot of clubs exist to serve as like community, like small communities to make like this huge like 45,000 people campus feel like like a place that you're comfortable with, in a place that you can find community in people. But there's also other like student orgs that exist to kind of tear down stuff. I'm not gonna name them or anything, but you know those people that were doing their little bake sale, or like you know the people that hate affirmative action because they don't like minorities. You know,
Like,
the people that are racist.
now, so that's your people. Stay tuned.
Period. I can't believe they still follow me to this day. What do you gain from watching my story?
You know that club? Did I tell you one time? I was tabling for Nesby and everybody was like hating on them, so I went up to them to have a conversation. I was like, oh, so I was like, do you guys have any like women, like any black students? The guy goes, actually, we have this one black girl.
No way. I hope they're not talking about me. It has to be something else.
The way he was so sad about it, I was like, do you have any Muslims? He was like, yeah, we had one. I think that's their schedules. And I was like, I think you're black and you're women and you're Muslims
are one person. I messaged them on Facebook. I said, hey, like, because they can see my face and they can see I'm Muslim. And I was like, hey, like, despite how I look, I'm kind of right leaning and I'm really interested in all the work you guys do. So what are your like schedules and stuff like that? And I showed up to the meeting and I would have like these little like socialism sucks, like these little badges. Bro, I was outside my dorm at like the middle of the night one time, and then these white boys were reading it. They go, yeah, you're right. I was like, bro, this is irony. I can't believe you're agreeing with me right now. Like, what is wrong with you? But now that we've talked about like some of the barriers and the burdens that we faced, like Ahlan, for example, you just graduated, mashallah, and then me and Sindis are almost done soon, in a year or two. Can we talk a little bit about all that we've learned through these challenges?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that I've learned is the power of networking. And also, like, it sounds so messed up. I just think college is a scam. You just need to be able to talk and read your room and have confidence. Like, I think a lot of times imposter syndrome and stuff like that makes you feel like you're overdoing it and stuff like that. But you literally just need to be able to relate to the person in front of you and project your worth. That's like, it's literally, that's
literally
it.
Fake it till you make it.
Until you make it. And also make good relationships with professors, like clubs, different clubs and stuff like that. When I say good relationship, doesn't mean you have to talk to them all the time. Quarterly checkups. Hey, thank you so lovely seeing you at that event one time. How are you doing? They update you, you update them. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of times we overthink networking, but networking is so important. And also joining clubs for what you want to study. So for me, I wanted to go into STEM, so I joined the National Society of Black Engineers. Best club out there. Like, they put you on, like, they have so much clubs and stuff like that. And I understand some people don't feel comfortable with their Nesbis on their campuses and stuff like that, but for me, alhamdulillah, like, I made it work. It was like, I liked it. But they like have people who come to you, literally teach you how to network and recruit. And what I like is they have like a system, so it's like when people graduate, they still come back to from the companies that they go to now, and they mentor you. So I have like so much mentors from Nesby, and it's like, it's so like low ball, like it's like super chill. Like, we have like a coffee now and then, or like a phone conversation and stuff like that. So I would say like that's the biggest thing I've learned is like networking and like learning how to speak up. Like, I'm an extrovert. We're gonna have an episode about this. You're gonna hate me, but like, bro, if you don't know how to talk,
you know me. I'm the biggest introvert hater. I'm like, God gave you a mouth, girl.
I'm more of an I literally never spoke in class unless like
absolutely necessary. Yeah.
Unless it's like required, like participation is required. But sometimes I go up to the teacher and tell them I don't feel comfortable. But that's because I like coming into UW, like I'm so confident. Then I realize everyone else is scared of.
I'm so scared of professors. You're so guessy. Like, you're so brave.
Honestly, I feel like I'm scared of students more than I am scared of professors, because I'm like, these professors are basically there to like, you know, I'm not trying to be rude, but to like, they're there for me. So I use them as a resource. I go to them like, if I need extra help, I'm like, here, this is what I need help with. Yeah, like that's one thing I've learned. Ask for help. If your professors are so flexible, I'm telling you, like if you're not doing well in a course, you can literally go to them, hey, can I get help with this, that, and the fourth? They'll be there to help you. If they can help you directly, they'll connect you to a resource. Like there's times like last year I was going through a lot in terms of like my mental health. They were so helpful to me. And like, don't be afraid to speak up and ask for help. Another thing I probably learned is this system is set up against you, so don't feel bad if you're finessing it. Like if you're not cutting corners, but if you're just like kind of trying your best to like get these grades up and get into these majors and get into these networking events and stuff, don't feel bad.
Don't get caught up though.
But if you have to kind of like pull a couple of strings and like do something that's out of the norm, and I'm not saying cheating, I'm saying like something that might be out of the norm, like getting help from your friend that took the class, because these other students already have the upper hand. Don't feel bad if like someone took Chem 142 before and they're like, hey, here's all my old exams, look over them. Don't feel bad if you're doing your homework with someone else, because these other students, I'm telling you, their parents are doing their essays for them. Like I had a girl sitting next to me in one of my classes talking about my mom did not send me the essay she wrote for me. I was sitting there like, oh my gosh. But yeah, that's one thing I learned. And also like another thing that's so important is realizing that you are worthy and you are there because you deserve it. You deserve it. Like, don't question yourself. Don't question your ability. I still question my ability till this day. It's so hard. I'm telling you, it's so hard. You're like, oh my God. Like, to be honest, course content isn't even that hard. You know what's hard? Being there. Being in the physical setting where you're just like the only Black person, where like no one is like, bro, being a Muslim means getting the whole road to yourself because no one's going to sit next to you. Like, literally those type of things. Like, you start thinking, oh my gosh, should I just like leave? But then I quickly realized like, wow, like it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, I belong here. I deserve it. And then also the whole entire networking thing. Networking is so important. Making sure that you have the right connections. Like I know a lot of people's internships were canceled this year, especially juniors that are going into their senior year. It could be nerve-wracking, but there's so many like externships, which is basically like free internships that you can do. I know, and that's such a hard thing to say, like doing a free internship. It's like a lot of students that are first gen cannot do that because they're providing for themselves and their families. But like try to look for different things that can help you with your career prospects. And also like the recruiting process starts now for you. Like once you enter university, like the university you're going to, the recruiting process started. There's different companies. Yeah, like if you're going into college right now, and this is going to be your freshman year, there's different opportunities. It's called accelerator programs, where basically they train you in whatever field that you're trying to be in, and it basically allows you to get an internship in your junior year, and then in your senior year you're going to get a full-time offer. So make sure you take advantage of those opportunities. I came into my university as technically a sophomore junior because I did Running Start, so I wasn't offered those opportunities. But if you are coming in as a freshman, I'm telling you, make sure that you go ahead and join those what's it called types of programs. And there's like so much I learned. Like I literally feel like I am a whole different person because of higher ed. Like I literally being
and the thing is, you had to like get all those resources and all that knowledge yourself. It's not like you were looking at a database or someone was telling you. You had to get it through struggling.
Exactly. Like I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but like coming from, I never went to a school where I was where there wasn't like white people were the majority. I never went to a school where white majority ever.
No, yeah. Like even when I was in Arizona, like it was mostly, Latinos, and like coming here, it was like literally a healthy dose of like everything, people. Yeah. So it's crazy to me to go to this institution where it's like 3 to 4% Black people, and I'm like, huh? What's the 97%?
Also, this is the biggest game changer. I'm not sure if they did this to you guys, but a lot of universities, when you come, they have a diversity like minority day or something. So they literally only show you, like UW does this, they're guilty. I don't care what anybody says. I remember that's how I met Najma. We came and all the Black students from class of 2016 possibly were all in one corner. All the Hispanics were downstairs and all the Native Americans were in another corner. And like they gave us a tour, literally West Campus, bro. West Campus, and then went to Susan, we came back. I thought UW was the most diverse place on earth. Diversity programs like YOC and stuff like that. And they're obviously we're getting recruiters, like past alumni and stuff who are obviously students of color. So I did not know what I was signing up for. And obviously somebody could be like, just do the damn Google search. But because I went to Rainier Beach High School, one of the most diverse like schools in the nation, I did not consider Googling diversity metrics. So that was never a thing for me. Like I never had to think about that. You know what I mean? So it's like look up your university like diversity metrics and like honestly like process it, because you'll be surprised.
Yeah, you could walk throughout the whole entire campus and you won't see one Black person, and it's just so hard. I honestly, people are gonna be like, who cares if there's not Black people? You're there to get your education. But then sometimes you feel so alone, and you're just like, oh my gosh, why am I here?
The thing is, I love people that say like, don't make it about race, don't make it about religion. But it's like, girl, who created race? Now you're telling me like, don't make it about race. Anyways, another thing I wanted to add is, I think the biggest thing for me is probably like, just stop being scared. Stop being scared of like looking stupid. Stop being scared of failing. You're gonna fail, no matter what you like. Whether like, I'm not talking about actually like failing a class. I'm talking about like, you're gonna fail. You're gonna go below your expectations because your expectations on yourself are so much higher than the expectations and standards you set for others. Like, you're so much harsher of a critic on yourself, of how much like you expect like to perform. Let go of all of it, to be honest. You can have goals, but don't be so hard on yourself if you don't meet them. As well as like, don't be scared of looking stupid, because you're gonna look stupid. Don't be scared of asking a dumb question. You're gonna ask a dumb question. If you already think that it's gonna happen, then like, you have nothing to be really scared of. And I think that's like, after I got like rid of like that fear of, almost, I think it's kind of like an extension of imposter syndrome, where it's like, oh, like, I don't want to prove these people right because they already might think I'm like stupid, or like they might think I don't belong here, and I don't want to prove them right. So like, let me like study in advance, so like I have good questions to ask. You really like have so much on your mind, and it's far too much pressure on one person. So I think that's the biggest thing, is just to like stop worrying about what others are going to think of you, because there are going to be people who think low of you anyways. So just do you, boo. That's it.
The greatest advice I got was to literally act like a white guy in higher ed. In the adegnimo. Like, how do you say in the adegnimo? Like, what's in the adegnimo?
Like stubbornness?
Yeah.
No, that's not how to say it.
Like, lack of I feel like in the adegnimo,
like lack of awareness.
Self-awareness, yeah.
Yeah,
like
there's like lack of self-awareness.
For me, you surprise everybody around you. Surprise yourself and everybody around you. You know what I mean? Like, Dr. Anu actually gave us this. She didn't give us this advice, but I put this advice for myself. But she was talking about how a lot of like white boys raise their hand before they even know what the question is.
Mm-hmm.
In my other class, we were talking about how a lot of white men apply for jobs they don't qualify for. They like, that's the thing. Like, I feel like a lot of times, like, as women, we overdo, we overprepare, we overthink, we just bosses, okay? We do the damn thing. But sometimes in higher ed, you gotta bring it back, baby. Do what Brad's doing. Brad didn't read. He's raising his hand. He's wowing the professor based on level of her school. That's what you need to be on. Like, I literally, like, past 2 years of college, bro, I literally was a Brad. I became a bro. I lived through bro culture. You have to be funny, overconfident, like, say hi to the recruiter, raise your hand when nobody raises your hand. Like, that's how you literally get jobs. That's how you get, like, see you. Because while you're out here overthinking and being super scared not to say anything, Brad is wowing everybody. Brad is doing that damn thing.
With his limited knowledge, too.
Exactly. Raising their hand. What was the question again? Yeah. I'm like, you don't even know the question. You have the audacity and the to raise your hand. Are you?
Brad raises his hand, and then he says the wrong answer, but he argues with the professor on why he thinks it's right. Brad,
especially female professors, they really feel like they could talk to female professors any type of way. I feel bad.
Yeah. And that's how I got the confidence, I feel like, to school, not school my professors, obviously, like, I respect hierarchy to expert, but like, when I feel like a professor's forgetting aspects of things, I'll raise my hand and I'll tell them how we consider colonization, how we considered white supremacy, I don't know, you know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like that, obviously a professor and you are going to have some tension, but at the end, he's going to remember your name. He's not going to remember Melissa, who didn't say a word the whole quarter, you know what I mean? It's a little in class, like, just speak up in class, bro. You literally will get better grades. Professors will like bump up your GPA sometimes. All speaking up, and just don't go. It's said it's best. Don't go hard on yourself, because like, you will literally physically and mentally feel it at the end of it.
Yeah. Especially like if you speak up a lot in class, I swear that teacher will give you a better grade. Me and Ahlam took this class with this one professor, and we spoke up all the time, and well, because participation was required, but literally we didn't want to do the little reflections that we had to do, so we spoke up all the time, and he gave us such a good grade in the end. We're just like, oh wow.
Thank you. Going to office hours, like, go to one office hour, like going to one office hour and like telling your teacher your life goals and stuff like that.
Just showing interest.
They feel so honored.
Yeah, definitely.
not
And don't
have.
skip your quiz section. Please don't skip. If you're going to a big institution, do not skip your quiz section. A lot of students think, oh my God, it's okay. I went to lecture. I don't need the quiz section. I'm telling you, your TA is the one that's going to be grading your papers. That's going to be
Yeah, literally.
you're gonna have to build a good report because they're like, oh, this person's actually working hard. They're here to actually learn, and they're always at the what's it called again, the quiz sections. So obviously they want to get a good grade. So please go to the quiz sections. This is advice for upcoming freshmen that are going to a big university.
Yeah, and everybody who's a freshman, I know like you're starting school in a pandemic and it sucks. You're not gonna experience anything almost. Don't go hard on yourself. I know it sucks. You're gonna probably cry about it all the time. It sucks. I really can't believe y'all not gonna have football games or anything like that.
Yeah.
Me brag. I feel bad.
Football games is the first concern.
Football games and also
in the fall. Me being a brat again, but it's so nice. But like even the MSA barbecue. That's the only time I went to MSA every year, guys. MSA barbecue. If your school has an MSA during a pandemic, please go to their barbecues. That is
Halal meat gang.
period.
gang. Now a vegan, but still they had vegan options because MSA money. Money.
Well, to wrap up, I think no matter like how many burdens and barriers, I think we still have to recognize how much of a privilege it is to be afforded the opportunity to even attend a higher ed institution, as well as despite like some drawbacks that we might face from our individual like identities that we have or minority groups that we belong to, a lot of times that affords us the opportunity to be able to give different perspectives. I know sometimes like professors who have like studied like XYZ for 10, 15 years, just explain it in that one way every single class. And they're until you come in and have a completely different take on it and add to that knowledge. So I think it's incredibly like we have to really recognize it as a privilege when sometimes it only really feels like a burden.
Sorry. Not everybody gets to go to a 4-year education. I think they can put it like understand your privilege and understand like you're going to be in a different like hierarchy. Like even when you graduate, like although like you know you're probably still gonna be broke, but like you're on a whole different pedestal. Like education is so worth it. Like you learn so much little things in college and it adds up at the end. Like looking back, I know so much weird facts about the world. I know little things. You also become intellectually more humble. So check your privilege. So important. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We literally just ran through Eskahalunle.
Yeah, I think it was like 45 minutes, but it's fine. I think it was all good content and all things that need to be said, especially like if I was a freshman, like coming into either like, you know, UW or other like university, this is some stuff that I really, really like to hear. And it's super reassuring to think that like, you know, no matter what, you're not the only person that's struggling. It's so hard for a lot of other people. So find community and, you know, it's easier. Really, the load is easier on you if you can share the burden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So thank you all. Once again, you can check us out on Instagram and on Twitter at DisturbingYP. And this is going to be uploaded on our YouTube at Disturbing Your Peace. Go give it a like. Give us a comment. I'm going to be reading them comments. If there's no comment, girl, no, I'm just kidding.
Hit us up. Like, we're really trying to get this free promo going on. I'm probably going to edit this part out. But yeah, thank you.